Another one is, money is evil, right? And rich people are selfish. So now there's this whole thing with a lot of young folks, and it's not just young folks, it's people, capitalism this and capitalism that, and it's money, doing this to get money, and this, and rich people are bad, like even, with the fires. Oh, the rich people lost their house in LA, and
people lost their homes Malibu. Regardless.
People lost their rich or not. But the point is that what they were saying was a lot of people were like, oh, those are just rich. So they
could buy a new home very easily.
And to me, that is such a selfish way of thinking.
It is.
And it is a limiting belief because you feel like maybe you can't do the things that they've done to acquire those homes.
And maybe that's what's behind those thoughts. It's like, I couldn't get it, or I don't have it, so why should I care about what they lost?
I even got one better.
What's another example?
The one where Beyonce only gave 2.5 to those houses, and people had something to say about it.
Well, yeah, because they wanted, she should give more because she's got money, and it's like, okay, well, what did you do?
Welcome to another episode of Not Yo Avg Aunties. I'm Joe.
I'm Key.
And I'm Jay.
And we are here to
keep it real,
raw, and relatable.
What's today's topic?
Letting go of limiting beliefs.
Ooh, what a great topic. Letting go of limiting beliefs. Let's define it. Limiting beliefs are thoughts, opinions, or convictions we hold about ourselves, others, or the world that restrict our potential abilities or opportunities. These beliefs often stem from past experiences, societal expectations, or fear of failure, and they create mental barriers that keep us from reaching our full potential.
Okay, I agree with that.
To break it down further, self-imposed restrictions, and these are often stories we tell ourselves, such as, I'm not good at this, or I can't succeed because of X, Y, and Z. They're often rooted in fear. They usually stem from a fear of failure, rejection, or just the unknown. And I think that many of them are really unchallenged because many limiting beliefs go unexamined, and people accept them as truths without even questioning their validity. That is my thought. So when we talk about letting go limiting beliefs, it's like, well, I got another one. Let me break it down. I got some more stuff. Let me just. So they can also have an impact on decision making.
Yes.
So they influence the choices we make, keeping us in our comfort zones, and preventing growth. So some examples could be like, I'm too old to start something new, or I'm too old to do this, or I'm old, I'm not going to dress this way, or I'm not going to do that.
I'm old, I can't start a new business. I'm old, I can't do this, I can't, different reasons.
Absolutely.
I can't go back to school, I can't learn a new skill.
Never too old.
It's a lot of can'ts.
Lots of can'ts. Another one is, money is evil, right? And money rich people are selfish. So now there's this whole thing with a lot of young folks, and it's not just young folks, it's people, capitalism this and capitalism that, and it's money, doing this to get money, and this. And rich people are bad, like even, with the fires. Oh, the rich people lost their house in LA, and
people lost their homes
Malibu.
Regardless.
People lost their rich or not. But the point is that what they were saying was a lot of people were like, oh, those are just rich. So
they could buy a new home very easily.
And to me, that is such a selfish way of thinking.
It is.
And it is a limiting belief because you feel like maybe you can't do the things that they've done to acquire those homes.
And maybe that's what's behind those thoughts. It's like, I couldn't get it, or I don't have it, so why should I care about what they lost?
I even got one better.
What's another example?
The one where Beyonce only gave 2.5 to those houses, and people had something to say about it.
Well, yeah, because they wanted, she should give more because she's got money, and it's like, okay, well, what did you do? How did you help? Right? But again, going back to like, it's this mindset of having fear creep in, or have these irrational thoughts. I'll never be able to find someone who truly loves me. That's a limiting belief. I can't do that because no one in my family has ever done it, or I've never seen nobody do this, So it's not possible.
Right.
That drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
That drives me up the wall.
It can't be real because they haven't seen experience before. So yeah, it's not possible.
That really makes me want to pop you in the head. Pop! Sorry. Wait, too early in the episode. But yeah, I personally think that limiting beliefs keep us stuck.
Yeah.
But I think that when you identify and challenge them, that's the first step towards transformation and empowerment and allowing yourself to think that you are worthy.
But when they have those limited beliefs, there's probably people who cannot be transformed because they stay stuck.
Some people, you'll never change their mindset until they have the personal experience, right? Sometimes you could talk to someone, even if they see what you've done, they'll never believe that it's something that they can attain themselves because you will never reach them. They're so stuck in that mindset of it's not attainable. And I think that's rooted in they don't feel like they're worthy. I believe that. I believe
or they've been told that. Or they've been told that. They've been constantly told that they're not deserving, they're not worthy, they'll never get it. You know, people instill or influences your beliefs by some of the things that they share or tell you and impose on you.
That's correct. And it's up to you to debunk that, though.
I absolutely
but if they
agree,
believe it,
yeah, and if you've been believing it for so long, and things have been shown to prove that to you, you can't see around that because that's all you see and that's all you know. Like, think about it: people who live in a certain they grew up in a certain area, and let's say the urban areas, less desirable urban areas, and that's all they know. So they stay there not knowing what's on the other side of that or what the possibilities are because they don't know anything or any better.
You're right. So it's up to them to lift themselves out and challenge themselves to know that there's other ways of living.
But what if they don't know how? What if they don't know how? Some people don't know how to navigate that process because this is all they know.
You're right.
But I think about it when I go back to a certain neighborhood that by default for circumstances we had to move to, and I go back and I still see people. I see people that when we moved there, I was 13 or 14, I remember, and I go back there and I still see people my age there living there and raising their kids there. Now their kids have kids and their kids are raising their kids there. They don't know how. They haven't gotten out of that.
They have that mindset: I was born there, I'm going to die there.
And you know what? That happens in pockets around the world, right? So I think you have to want first. In order for you to even take themselves out of that environment, they have to want to do it. You know, you gotta want to,
right?
If you don't want to, then you're not gonna go anywhere, right? So you have to want to do it. You have to feel like you're deserving. You know, if you like living there, then that's fine, right? But I think to me, to overcome a limiting belief, you gotta want to try.
You have to believe in it.
But you gotta try. You have to have some
exposure too. If you don't have the exposure, so if you're in this radius of area and all these things look the same, let's think about the Jeffersons.
Okay.
Not the Jeffersons. Sorry. Good times.
Good times, anytime you need it, baby. Good times.
If Thelma didn't meet this person who was going to be, I think he was going to be a football player or something like that.
NFL player.
NFL player. They've only been exposed to one type of life area, whatever. The husband working this job. They're in the projects, basically, right?
Okay.
They haven't seen anything outside of the projects. If they have no exposure to what something could possibly be, let's just go pick it. They don't have no TV. They're living in meager.
So that's what I was gonna go to, because in this day and age, we're talking about this time.
They don't have that problem. They shouldn't have.
In
that.
this time, you should not have. If you got this, you have exposure. It's a matter of what you're consuming. So I don't use that as an excuse.
The consumption it still shouldn't be an excuse, but what they consume is also is fostering those beliefs. It's not changing.
Yes, but.
There's no excuse.
I'm trying to get to. I'm not saying.
I understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to get to the point. How do you get someone to get out of that mindset that's just stuck and they don't know how to navigate?
So
that process?
To ask themselves a question: whatever the limiting belief is, why do I believe that? Let's get to the root cause. Why do I even believe it? Why do I even believe it? What evidence supports this?
I agree.
What is someone that's out my circle? Let me look for other people that are doing things. Let me challenge myself to look for other people that are living differently than me. That's a simple thing. Let me challenge myself. People see, the thing is, they're not thinking about that.
Right.
If you have a limiting belief, I'm just going to use the I live in the Bronx. Let's just say I've never left the Bronx. And that's all I know. And people that move outside the Bronx, they think they has to did it.
Yes.
Or what? Let's just say that. Let's
do.
just use that. They think you all that because you moved out the Bronx. Why do I believe that? That's the first thing. Is why am I even thinking that?
Because I don't think I deserve. They don't. I'm not saying
I
they don't think they deserve it.
So then, what evidence supports that? Why do I don't think I deserve it? Because it goes back to something in the childhood.
Yeah.
Something they've been told.
Something you've been told.
Yep.
And then challenge yourself. Now, what if the opposite were true? Let me go.
I don't know. It's going to be the opposite. True. You can have all that. Because that is actually very true. It's not even what if. It's true. You can have those things, right? But what do I do with it then?
How do I achieve it?
How do I achieve it?
Well, then that's the next.
And that goes back to what I said. You have to believe in it.
You have to believe that you are worthy.
Yes.
So that just takes you from the ones that are so resistant. Just all they got to do is challenge themselves.
But even the ones who eventually figure it out that they can have these things, right? Then they don't even honor and respect it. They sabotage that shit because of that limited belief initially that they didn't think they deserved it. But now they got it. But they sabotage it.
Because I think because they may get something. They could sabotage it if they don't know how to maintain it, right? And they're not putting themselves in the same in different circles that's going to enable them to maintain
exactly
whatever it is that they were able to achieve.
Because you've seen that. You've seen people come out of areas where they had nothing all their lives, but something happened in their life where they got now they got things and they can afford things and they can achieve things and they have exposure to things and they can have all these things and they ruin it.
I mean, we could use I hate to say it, but even the PPP loans, right? Now listen, back in 2020 when some of y'all were running that PPP game, y'all got that money. There's a handful of y'all that got that money and actually made good with it. And they are sitting pretty right now because they invested it in things
the smart ones
that were able to make them more money versus the ones that took the money and bought liabilities. I'm not even going to say assets. They bought things that were more liabilities just to stunt.
That's a limited belief, though. That's a limited. They didn't. Do they really think they probably was? Do they think they deserve that money? Because they ruined it. They sabotaged. They did not do good with the money.
At this
do you
point,
think they did?
I think
they deserve the money.
I think it's. I don't even know if it's that. I think it's the situation of I've never had this amount of money in my life,
and I'm just gonna spend.
And I don't know if I'll ever get it. That's the limiting belief. So now I'm going
exactly. That's it goes back to the original. If you thought that you could never have that before, and now you got it, and now it's gone because you didn't do right by it. It starts from that initial belief of you didn't deserve it.
You're right,
because you're not treating it right. You're not respecting it. You're not honoring the blessing that you were given.
I think that is some careless. That's some truth to that for sure.
That goes back to that's in that innate belief of I don't deserve this.
And you got to change
I'm going to abuse it. I'm not going to treat it right. That's
part of it, but I also think some of them who did squander, because I knew a few people that got that loan also, they just had that mindset. Oh, I'm gonna get this again.
Well, those are the entitled people.
I'm living it up.
Those are the people who think they. Those are the entitled people. I won't even say they think they deserve it. Those are the people who are entitled.
They were being careless.
I think that there are situations where people it all goes back to what they believe they are worthy of. So when I hear like people say I'm too old for this or I'm too, I always want to reframe that and say, what if I'm the perfect age for this? Because a lot of times, let's face it, I'm going to say particularly women. It happens with men too. But when you get to the 50 mark, it's like, it's almost like your life is coming to an end. And I'm on the road to 50 and I don't feel that at all. So I feel like this is a new chapter. I'm ready to get, look what I've done here with the first 50 years of my life. What can I do with the next X amount of years I got left. So, but everybody, so I think it's a mindset. It's a mindset. It's like, I'm not going to ever think I'm too old for this or too old for that. I might be the perfect age for it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's reframing.
So many people started, their success began later in life.
So many. So many people.
They were not as successful at 20 and 30 as they are at 50, 60, whatever. They're much older in their age. So I have my fun fact.
Okay, let's go for it.
And I think this is a good one, and I think this is really true because this is a pivotal time when you start thinking about things in life, I think. Even though you still have a young mind, but it says beliefs about success and failure often develop before the age of 12. So I think when you start seeing things and you start realizing, you still got to figure out who you are, but you're starting that process of realizing who you are and what things you want to have in life, career-wise. You know, some young ladies, or when I think about girls or women who think about what the life that they want to have when they get older, they want that fairy tale wedding. They want that, house, dog, and family or whatever. And that's not for everybody, but some people, right? Those thoughts kind of happen. Oh, I want to be the career woman. I'm going to be in this career path that I'm going to go down. Or when you don't have confidence in yourself at a young age, you start to think negative things about yourself early on too. And those things continue to manifest themselves, success or failure, as you develop and get older.
I agree. I think people don't talk about it enough, but I think when you're in that preteen, early teenager stage, that's when you start to develop your own thought process and mindset. You start moving away from whatever your parents did. You think you know better, and that's when you start to have a different view of the world. And you're right. I think whatever your parents was feeding into you and your environment was feeding into you, that definitely cements or lays the foundation.
Like you're either going to go the opposite of that, or it depends on the situation, because it could be, if you have successful, affluent parents, whatever, you're going to keep on that trajectory or whatever. Or you can go, I'm going to go down with the bad boy and I'm going to go on my life. Or the opposite, I don't have all that and I don't want, this is not the life that I want. I've seen my parents struggle or whatever, and that's not the life I want for me. I want to do better, and you're going to go for that or whatever. So,
but what about those situations where the age 12 to 14 is the pivotal time? Something happens during that trauma that can kind of change your trajectory, and it's your job to try and push your way out of it. So you push your way out of it, but then you still have that doubt throughout life. How do you tackle those?
You got to ask yourself, why do I keep believing this? Challenge it. You got to challenge yourself. Why am I thinking this way? Can I challenge myself to see if I can see better, see something different? But you got the first thing I think becomes with asking yourself the questions: why am I even thinking this? Where's this coming from? What is it rooted in?
I definitely think exposure too. Like if you're exposed to certain things, we talked about the phone and stuff now. Where now you have access to stuff. It's changing the things that you want to receive in your mind and think about was going to help that. So if you're looking at trash TV all the time,
that's all.
You're consuming, you're looking at the booty shaking, what do you call that? What are you twerking stuff all the time? And you think that that's the way to go, then that's the way you're going to go. But if you look at like people who are doing certain things, investing, and you consume that information and become more curious about that versus the other.
Excuse me.
You'll see that you'll start to see that I can achieve this too, because I'm seeing it happen. It may not have happened in my immediate family or my environment or people that I know are close to me, but I do see people on the outside doing this, and I can do it too.
All it takes is for you to get a little bit of exposure to something. But again, sometimes I'm going to say one other thing. I am choking. 1 second. I always say if you're envious of someone, it's because deep down inside, that's something you really want. It's your desire. But you might feel you're unworthy. So that you take, instead of using that feeling of saying, why do I feel like I'm unworthy, you tend to be envious, which doesn't serve you. No. So then you should challenge yourself. Okay, well, what about their achievement? What did they do? What is that? Why does that bother me?
Right.
A lot of people are not doing this deep down self-reflection. Why does what they have, I'm going to use the fires in LA. Why, when you air a lot of these people, anybody that said they're rich, they can afford another one, them people were poor. Anybody who said it, you ain't got a lot of money. Because if you had money, you're not going to say that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So you definitely operating with it.
They're only
can't debate me on
they're
that.
only thinking about the money in the house. They're not thinking about everything else that was lost, right?
What it took for them to. Some of them people worked hard
for that.
To get that money, to get that house, to build that, the family. So you got to challenge yourself. Why do I even feel that way to make a statement like that?
Yeah.
What is it that their achievement that they were able to get that? Why does that bother me? Do I not feel like I'm capable? That's what I feel.
I mean, it goes the same thing with a promotion at work. The same thing. Why is this person getting a promotion and
not me?
I'm not. Mm-hmm. What are you doing to get that promotion? Are you doing the things necessary to get the promotion? Do you really deserve the promotion? So they don't do again. It goes back to self-reflection. A lot of it is looking at your inner self. So if you don't look at your inner self and you don't think about what's stopping you from achieving whatever it is you think you deserve. That's what it comes down to. If you're jealous about something that somebody else got because you think you deserve it, if you don't stop and look back to see how you can get that or figure out how you can get that, then that's on you.
So that goes to the question I had. How can someone identify the limiting beliefs they hold, right? And it goes back to what you mentioned, looking at your inner self, right? Yep. But reflecting on those patterns. I'm going to always say, I'm going to bring up the journaling or something that can help you identify areas where you're stuck or frustrated, right? Looking for those reoccurring behaviors. Pay attention to the negative self-talk that you have in your inner dialogue. What are you telling yourself when you face a challenge, right? I'm not smart enough, or man, this ain't go right.
This wasn't for me anyway.
It wasn't for me.
Have it.
Yeah, what's meant for me is for me. And I do believe that, but then there's some degree, because if you're not working if you ain't working for it, ain't gonna be for you. Yeah. Right. The other thing, notice the excuses. Do you often justify not pursuing something by blaming an external circumstance versus your own perceived flaws? That's with the promotion, right? Oh, I didn't get it, maybe it wasn't your time because you didn't put in the effort. You didn't put in the effort. Or you thought you was putting in the effort, but so-and-so was actually putting in more. But now you can say, no, they didn't, because, were you really watching everything they doing?
Instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing.
What you was doing,
You focusing on them and not focusing on your...
Right? Yeah. So there's things like that. Think about what's causing you to be resistant. So what's scaring you? Because sometimes it's just they're just scared. Yes. A lot of time it's fear, right?
Yes.
And questions that you're avoiding, like resistance to change or trying new things. I think that all these things contributed to a limiting belief. I think you brought it up, childhood conditioning, which is that 12 to 14. Yep. What messages did you absorb, right? From your family, from your friends. This is a tricky one.
It's not just absorbing, it's actually believing those things.
Yes. This one's a tricky one. Your role model. You can have a role model that you actually look up to.
Looking at the people twerking or looking at the people that...
But wait a minute. But where I'm going with it is, you can have a role model, but do they reinforce certain limiting beliefs? So now they elevated you here, but they ain't letting you get over here. Because now you see what I'm saying? So then you got to learn when to be like, this person's no longer serving me in that capacity any longer. And that role model
could be anybody. It could be anybody. Your parents sometimes. Because they didn't see far beyond. So if they didn't see far beyond, they don't think that you can either. Or anybody who's has some influence in your life. If they can only get past the 2 steps in front of them, they only think that you can too, because they never tried. Because they can add to the thoughts that you already have.
It can be even worse if you didn't even have a role model growing up.
Yeah, because now you're on your own.
And you got to figure it out.
Well, that's the thing. So when you got to figure it out, I think when we in our generation growing up, it might have been harder for us to figure out in your situation, like if you're saying that they didn't have a person to look up to, right? It was harder for us. Now we have access to information. Not to say we didn't have it then. You probably have to pick up a book, right?
Get the right information.
To get the right information, right? But now you have access to information where you actually could see somebody attain certain things and be like, wow, how did I real talk? That's how I picked up magazines and I was like, how did this person do this? How did this person do that? It would be inspirational to me.
I guess a little bit of the difference though, you got to challenge that too, because everything out there is not factual. So watch what especially when you think about social media stuff, right?
True.
So yeah, there's some things out there where people do share how they got from point A to point B and all the steps in between. Then there's people that just show you point A and then bam, point B.
And not
be
telling
mindful
you all the bad.
If that point B is real or not.
Facts. No, facts. But I think if it's enough to spark you to keep going down a rabbit hole and find you can find that person, this person is don't just settle in on one. I never just settle in on one person.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta like triangulate.
But I think it's important to put that message out there, not to just say like you can have what everybody have out there. If you don't know how they got there to get that, and you're not curious enough to go and explore and learn for yourself how to get those things, if you truly want those things, don't just look at the person that shows you everything is glory on this end, because it's not always that case.
No.
That's
correct.
Not always the case.
That's correct. That's facts. Yeah, I think my biggest thing, and I challenge anyone who says I can't do this or can't do that, just ask yourself, why am I even thinking that? What's causing me to even feel this way? You know, because sometimes it's envy, sometimes it's just because this is all you know.
That's all you know.
And there's a whole world out there of people living differently, doing things differently than you are.
And if you're okay in that space, then you're okay in that space. But don't be mad and hating on other people
because they don't live like you live.
Exactly.
Don't be a hater.
It's not pretty.
It's actually
not
whack.
Attractive.
It's whack. And let me tell you something. It's one, you know what, I'm going to take it a step further. Don't be a hater for sure. But when you're like a 35, 40-year-old hater, you real whack. If you're younger than that,
why 35 and 40?
Because you should know better. Any 35 plus, you should know. 30, better. Especially, for real, 35-year-old plus, you had this. You had something like this, something in your life. You had a means of looking up things, taking your initiative to find and like get information.
Yep.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But I still say some people just don't know how to navigate that process.
At 35, a 35-year-old,
if they've never been told, and they don't look at things the same way that you look at things for consumption. And they don't know how to do that. They just not gonna get it.
That all goes
and
back
and they don't get it by a certain age, then maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if they don't look at things from the lens of I could have that and want that too, and how I'm gonna figure out how to get there, I'm seeing it. I know it can happen. I see it happen. I see other people doing it. I just don't know how to do that. Even though even when they have people that give them some steps, they can still say, I don't know. I can't figure out where to begin, because they block themselves off to the point where they're not even willing to take the initiative, because I think it goes back to what you said before, fear.
It's fear. You're scared. Sometimes you got this all or nothing. Like, I got to do it perfect, or I'm not doing it at all.
That's another thing.
That's crazy to me.
But that also holds people back. Perfection.
It drives me. I got to do it all, but you're striving for these unattainable standards, and it might lead to, it could be tied to a belief that if I make a mistake, that's a failure. Whereas if you took a leap, you went from here, you wanted to go here, you only made it here. But guess what? You're no longer here. Like, you gotta take the gains where you can. Yeah. Maybe you didn't get people, to.
If they don't win everything, they go back. They start over again. Yeah. Or if they even start over again, they take that setback and then they stuck again.
So I gotta challenge them. Why are you allowing yourself to think that way? Where is that rooted in? Can't you acknowledge where, okay, you didn't get to the outcome that you wanted, but you're not where you were. So now you're starting from a different lens. Now if you wanted to do it again, you have wisdom because you just did it and it didn't go the way you wanted. So now you're like, hey, I know if I make this right turn, I'm not going to.
But that's people who know how to that understand also. And you can realize a failure is a lesson.
Absolutely,
learned.
A lesson. Yes, sometimes hard ones, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's when they look at a failure as just a failure, nothing else. They can't figure nothing else beyond that. Versus, okay, I got this far. These things worked right, but this didn't. So, okay, I'm going to repeat the things here that worked right and change this one thing and get a little bit further. And each time, keep doing that. People don't know. Not everyone knows how to do that. So, and that's the unfortunate piece, especially with, like you said, all the information and resources that are out there. Even back then, even when you had to go to the goddamn library, you had resources. You had people to go to.
But it wasn't cool to go to the library, you know. It wasn't cool. But it was there.
Yeah.
It was there.
Yeah.
You know, sniffing them books with everybody's DNA all over it. But it was still the information in the books. It's the information, you know. But no, for real, I mean, I think that this topic for me, if you just can challenge your limiting beliefs, it can open up a different world for you. Just ask yourself, anytime you got a little hateration in your mouth, in your bones, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's making me, when you got to look at somebody and kind of envy whatever they have, it's like, what's causing me to feel that way?
I don't think it's always somebody hating on you.
No, it's not. No, the limiting belief, I just said, it could be anything. It could be like, I'm too old for this. I'm just saying, challenge your way of thinking. If you're thinking, I'm too old to do that. Why? What if you're the right age to do it? Challenge yourself. Well, let me see who other people, whatever it is.
Right.
How many other people the age of 65 or whatever, 45 did this.
Going back to college and getting a degree.
Come on,
people done.
People do it.
They do it all.
Going back and graduating.
Come on, you know, there's so many different things, right? So you just ask yourself that if that is creeping up in you, why am I thinking this? When I mentioned the hating things, because there are people that hate on other people
because they don't have what they do want.
They deep down inside, and they might say, I don't want that. Deep down, you be all right if you had it. You'd be like, oh, this is different. I'm living different, you know. So just challenge yourself. Why are you even feeling that way? And then once you figure that out, it's like, well, what makes me think that I can't get this? I promise you, if you just ask yourself those questions, you're gonna see you open up something within yourself, just to ask those questions, you know.
Yep.
And that's what I have to say on limiting beliefs. I say F them limiting beliefs, and they do. And even like I said, the most confident person can have them, but you gotta be like, nah, stop,
move past
that.
it.
No, what's up? Why am I feeling this way?
You deserve it. Go for it.
That's
it.
Right.
Sure, it's out there. The world is your oyster, people.
The world is your oyster, and I don't care who's in administration. It's up to you to do what you want to do for yourself.
I believe that 100%. I'm with you on that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that's it. That's all we got on it.
That's all we got on that
cheers
topic.
to that, and screw limiting beliefs, baby. Go out there and live.
Oh.
Yes.
Let me cheers.
Man, fuck limiting beliefs. Hate them bastards.